the beginning, before the noise, before the confusion, before food became industrialized, God gave us a simple gift. He gave us every seed-bearing plant, every tree with fruit for nourishment. I believe many women today are exhausted, not only physically, but we are spiritually disconnected from the simplicity and peace God designed for us. And maybe the way back to healing begins with remembering how we were meant to be nourished. What if I told you that every meal you've ever eaten has been quietly shaping not just your health, but the health of the planet, the animals, and even your sense of peace? And what if the exhaustion so many women feel today isn't just from doing too much, but from living disconnected from what truly nourishes life? I want to share today, not from judgment, but from compassion. Because I know what it is like to carry responsibility that feels endless. To be a mother, a caregiver, a teacher, a homemaker, a business owner, and still try to figure out what taking care of yourself even means. Hey, I'm Daniela, the vegan mom. I'm also a homeschooling mom, a piano teacher, and I'm also an animal advocate and a lifelong caregiver to my daughter Christina, who was born with Down syndrome. And I'm also a woman who knows what it feels like to pour into everyone else while quietly running on empty myself. And today I want to explore something simple but life-changing. The food choices we make every day and the ripple effect they create far beyond our plates. So many women I speak to are not just tired, they are deeply depleted. They are giving constantly to their children, to their partners, to their work, to the family, and often ignoring their own health until exhaustion, illness, or burnout finally force them to pause. Can you relate? Let me know in the comments below. But somewhere underneath that exhaustion is something much deeper. A quiet disconnection from nourishment. Not just physical nourishment, but the kind that brings peace to the heart and the soul as well. Because food is never just food. Let me explain. Food is energy and information for our body. Food is impact. Eating is something we all participate in every single day. But do we truly know what it takes to bring this food to our plate? And that is what I want to shine a light on today. Not to overwhelm you, but to wake you up to the truth that your choices matter more than you've been told. Because every time we sit down to eat, we are participating in a larger system. And most of us were never taught to really question that system or where our food comes from. Some foods are rooted primarily in plants, like fruits, vegetables, grains, legumes. We call this the plant-based vegan lifestyle. The other system depends on the use of animals and animal products for food, like meat, dairy, eggs, leather, wool. We call this carnism. And when we begin looking more closely at these two ways of eating, the difference becomes impossible to ignore. A vegan lifestyle removes direct harm to animals in food and clothing systems. It steps away from industries where animals are bred, confined, used, and ultimately killed for consumption. And beyond that, it helps reduce the enormous amount of land, water, and energy needed to raise animals for food. This is not about perfection. It is about direction. So think direction. A shift toward less harm, a shift toward more awareness, a shift toward life that feels more aligned with compassion. And compassion also means being willing to look more closely at what animals experience within these systems. Globally, trillions, yes, trillions of land and sea animals are brutalized, tortured, and slaughtered every year for food. And behind every number is a life, a nervous system, the capacity to feel, a desire to live. Even in systems labeled humane, animals are confined, separated from their young, and ultimately killed long before their natural lifespan ends. And the impact doesn't stop there. Animal agriculture is one of the leading drivers of deforestation, habitat loss, water pollution, greenhouse gas emissions, and biodiversity decline. Forests are cut down to grow food for livestock and create space for cattle to graze. Wildlife loses habitat. Rainwater runoff washes chemicals, waste, and other pollutants from land into rivers and oceans, and ecosystems become more fragile over time. This is the part many people never see because it happens far away from the dinner plate. But it is real, and it's happening every single day. So in other words, our choices do not end where our meal ends. They extend into transportation, systems, farming practices, packaging, and land use. Even plant foods can have impact, especially when they're heavily processed or shipped for long distances. But when we choose whole plant foods, seasonal foods, local foods, whenever possible, the footprint becomes significantly lighter. And what I find so powerful is this. When we reduce demand for animal agriculture, we are not only reducing animal suffering, but we're also reducing pressure on land that would otherwise be cleared for feed crops or grazing, which means more space for ecosystems to breathe, more stability for wildlife, more balance in nature, better health for each of us because we shift toward more plant-based, seasonal foods. This is where ethics and environment begin to meet. Not in extremes, but in awareness. For me, this journey has never been just about food. It's been about alignment with my faith, my health, with my calling as a mother and caregiver. I believe deeply that life is sacred and that animals are not resources, but they are living beings entrusted to our care. The Bible says in Proverbs 12:10, the righteous care for the needs of their animals. And I also believe and know that when we eat plant-based foods, our bodies respond in positive ways. We feel more energized, we think more clearly, and we become more balanced overall. I have witnessed this in my own life and in the lives of so many others. I have seen women experience profound improvements in their health, from increased energy to weight loss to relief from arthritis and digestive issues and other chronic conditions. Some have even shared powerful stories of healing after changing the way they eat and live. Stories like these remind me of the body's ability to heal and restore balance, and how deeply connected our well-being is to the way we live, eat, and care for ourselves. So where does this leave us? Not with guilt, not with pressure, but an invitation to become more aware, to ask better questions, to take one step at a time toward a way of living that supports your health, your energy, your peace, and your values. Because even small shifts, one meal, one choice, one moment of awareness, can begin to change the direction of a life. And I truly believe this. When we care for ourselves with intention, we begin to care for the world differently too. If this resonates with you, I would love to walk this journey with you. My Back to the Garden of Eating program is a gentle return to food that nourishes, restores, and brings us back into harmony with ourselves and with the natural world around us. This path is about more than just food. It's about healing the mind, the body, the heart, and our relationship with all living beings. Because healing is never just about food or just exercise or just one thing. It's about coming back to life itself. And if this speaks to your heart, I invite you to join my free Back to the Garden of Eating workshop. And I will leave the link to it in the description below. Please like and subscribe and become part of our vegan tribe. And until I see you again, take very good care of yourself. And may you be well. And may you know peace. Bye for now.